Allow me to be the first to tell you Happy New Year. It is
Happy
day
New
8.
Year.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. Good to see
Yeah,
you. It's day
Happy New
8.
Year, Nico. Happy New Year.
It's day 8 of our 12 days of Christmas. Paul, I can't believe we're already at day 8. And today is all about inspiration. What are you inspired about as 2023 kicks off? Paul?
Nico, inspiration. We have got to reach out for the inspiration. There's so much of it out there. You know, when we look at LinkedIn, I get inspired by my colleagues from the clean energy revolution on a regular basis. I get inspired by various, yourself with your podcasting, but there's lots out there for our inspiration. And particularly, I was inspired by Elon Musk. I read his, and this isn't today's book, but I read his autobiography, and I was inspired by, yes, and I was inspired by the fact that he had another sidetrack, and yes, he wants to get to Mars, but he has been led by this Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for many, many years. And what that inspired me to do was just to take my foot off the pedal regarding reading about business and reading about my education and my growth. I wanted to lighthearten my sort of approach, but it actually empowered my brain regarding my vocabulary and what I was looking at. And it sort of widened my view of life. I don't know. Do you find this sometimes, Nico, when you're reading different books?
I do, Paul. I read a lot of books that are not business books. I used to only exclusively read nonfiction, and now I found myself dipping into more fiction. I read a lot with my children, and children's books are magical, fanciful places to just allow our minds to expand. And I love that you brought up the Hitchhiker's Guide. I still haven't read it. It is going on my 2023 list. You're bringing a lot of books onto my list this year, Paul, so I appreciate that about you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And you know as well that I'm a musician, so I seek inspiration not only in books but in music. And I spend time with my guitar and with other instruments and with my children, and really allowing music to speak to me. And I find that it unlocks places in my brain. So we want to encourage you to seek inspiration. Where do you find inspiration? In this new year, how will you be inspired to move your business forward in a sustainable fashion? And what places outside of nonfiction books do you seek that kind of inspiration that you can marry with the kinds of things that you're bringing into the world, the product you're creating, as Elon Musk does, as Mr. Paul Webb does?
Nico, you just reminded me about putting you on the spot. And I think we should put you on the spot one day, probably at the end of this, and we'll ask you to play us a tune on the guitar.
I'll have to go get the guitar out of the living room. If you're lacking inspiration, go to paulandnicosbookclub.com and register for a chance to win our giveaway of our 12 books from the 12 days of Christmas. Seek inspiration there if you don't have your book list already started for 2023. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you and to everyone watching this.